Hello.
All right, we're just going to give it a few minutes, guys, as we wait for more people to join on. But welcome back if you're part of the last session last week.
Yeah, tell us if you were here last week. And tell us where you're from when you come in. We had people from everywhere last time.
Yeah, we did too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Got another one. Hi, everyone.
Can you see the numbers coming through?
I can, yes.
Okay, good. We're starting soon, guys. We'll just wait for another couple of minutes, 5 minutes or so, to get people on board. There was some technical glitches with the webinar host, which we've hopefully rectified, and it should all be hopefully everyone got the new link, which I think most of you have, which is good.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll just have to wait a bit. I apologize for that.
Looking forward to doing this today with you guys. So we had to be resilient today, right, Brendan?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I had to showcase my resilience and remain calm in dealing with the technical issues.
Yep. It's tech that always gets you.
Yes.
These days.
At least it's all been rectified now. But I hope it hasn't allowed people to miss out. But the best thing about this is actually you can watch the replay, which is really good.
Yeah, I think I know some people that watch the replay actually. So that's good. And you'll also get slides and stuff too.
Yes. Okay.
Should we make a start? Hopefully other people will join us. We've got some more coming through.
Okay, yeah, we'll give it a couple more minutes maybe. I'll just get our guys to maybe do a push out to see. Yeah, mine's only here. Let me just.
You guys, if you're sitting and waiting, I would love to know where you're from, and also if you came to the anxiety session last week. Anybody there?
Yes, we've got one coming through. Woohoo!
Hi, Jane. Hi, Jenny. Oh, I'm so glad. Hi, Jenny from Melbourne. I'm so glad, Jenny, that you loved this last week's session. That's fantastic. Hi, Tipu.
All right, well, we might get started then, and I'm sure more will come through as we go. So welcome, everyone, to part 2 of our Hospitality Wellbeing series, webinar series. If you're coming back from last week, welcome again. And if you're the first time here, welcome to our second part. My name is Brendan Leeds. I am the co-founder and CEO of Clipboard Hospitality, and along with Skills for Life and Dr. Lillian Nejad, welcome to building resilience within yourself and in your team, something that we're really excited about sharing with you guys today. So thank you. Also to thank our principal partners, Restaurant and Catering Association, Community Clubs Victoria, and Motive Matchup. I'll let Dr. Lillian do a bit of a background on her again, but for those of you who are joining us for the first time, We've put on this two-part webinar series. Obviously, our industry has been handcuffed by the pandemic, and with Clipboard and Skills for Life, we are hoping to provide some necessary skill sets, some resources that you can implement immediately within yourselves and also your team, which we know is vital at this stage. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you for all the support. Thanks for the feedback from last week and all your participation in the polls and the questions. And let's look forward to a great session today. Don't forget, you can always get the replay of both sessions after today. And post this session, we'll be uploading some resources via email and on our Clipboard platform, as well as Dr. Lillian Nejad's platform, Skills for Life. So enjoy and welcome Dr. Lillian.
Hi, guys. It's good to be back for another session. Thanks for coming, and thanks, Brendan and Clipboard, for organizing this session. So some of you, and maybe most of you were here last week, but some of you weren't. So thanks for letting me know in the chat box. It's really good to see some of you back. And if you're new to this week, please let me know as well. So for those of you who weren't here last week, we talked through the impact that the pandemic has had on the hospitality industry and on us, and how we have this kind of new layer of anxiety that's washed over us over the last year and a half. And then I went through some practical, efficient, and effective ways to cope with and reduce anxiety and stress. So if you missed it, like Brendan just said, you can see the replay, and we're also going to give you access to the slides as well after the session. So I'm glad that those of you who went gave us some really good feedback and enjoyed it. So I'm really happy to hear that. As Brendan said, I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been practicing for over 20 years. I'm based in Melbourne, but you probably noticed I have an American accent. I was born and raised in the US, and I grew up in the DC area, actually. But I moved here over 25 years ago. So I've spent my years as a psychologist working here in public mental health and in universities and in businesses and in private practice. And I have learned so much working with my clients, and definitely probably more than what they've learned from me, especially about resilience. So today I'm going to talk to you about what resilience is, how to build resilience in yourself, and how to build it in your business. And I want this to be as interactive as possible, like last week. So we'll be sending out some polls, and I'm asking you some questions and asking for you to respond via the chat box. So if everyone's ready, we'll get started. I'm just going to put my slides up. Make sure this goes well. Can everyone see that? Just let me know in the chat box if you can see it. Or Brendan, you can let me know as well.
Yes, we all good. Yes, it's up and running.
Fantastic. All right. So this is the agenda. And we're going to start with what resilience is. So most people think of resilience as the ability to bounce back from setbacks and negative events. But it's actually more than this. It's also about being able to face the positive challenges and opportunities in our lives, and not only cope with the ups and downs of life, but to learn from them as well. And it's important to note that resilience doesn't mean that you don't feel distress of any kind. Just like courage involves a feeling of fear, resilience involves a range of emotions, including fear, anxiety, disappointment, and sadness. It's all about accepting these feelings and still moving forward as best you can. So here's a quote that I think encapsulates this idea. Oh, it's not working. One second. There we go. Resilience is accepting your new reality, even if it's less good than the one you had before. You can fight it. You can do nothing but scream about what you've lost, or you can accept that and try to put something together that's good. What do you guys think of that one? I think that's a really excellent definition of resilience. So why is resilience important? I'm sure you already know that there is ample research showing that building your resilience can benefit you both physically and mentally. People who are resilient respond better to stress and they have better immune systems as well. So what you might notice in a resilient person is that they problem solve effectively, they display flexibility and adapt well to change, they perform well under pressure, and they're healthier, which probably means that they have less days off from work due to illness, and they approach challenges with energy and persistence and optimism, and they tend to view setbacks and mistakes and feedback as growth opportunities and opportunities to learn. But this doesn't mean that resilient people are perfect. Resilience isn't being perfect or doing things perfectly all the time. You will still struggle and have moments of feeling tired and frustrated or even defeated. And really, what resilience is being able to recognize this and accept and validate these feelings and experiences, and to still know that you can get through it and that you're going to cope. So, taking all of this into account, I'm going to ask you your first question. I want you to think about your own level of resilience and how you would rate your overall level of resilience. So, very low, low, moderate, high, or very high. And I don't know, Brendan, if you're comfortable talking about your level of resilience with everyone.
Yes. Yeah, of course, definitely. Look, it's probably changed over time. I in the last 2 years, it's gone up to that moderate high level. Having juggled, especially with kids, especially with the two businesses, and obviously with COVID and how everything's, attacked both my businesses, which are both in hospitality. So I've had to invest in myself, invest in my team, do a lot of research, obviously speaking with you and working with you over the last month. So putting all these, I think once you have the tools in front of you and know, I think you like last week, accepting the reality, accepting what's happening, and then making the decision to actually make that change, and then pushing it through your team as well has been really important. So for me, I would say that when COVID hit and things were a bit, I was able to quickly turn it around, which is what we wanted to do. That's a mindset thing that I've actively had to work on over the last 5 years. So yeah, I think it's now getting up to that high, very high, because of the mindset that you instilled those foundations.
Yeah, I really like how you said it's an active thing, because I think that that's really key with resilience, that it's something you have to work on. It's not something that you just suddenly get and it just stays that way. I also think like a really interesting thing is that we might have different levels of resilience depending on the situation we're in. Like as a psychologist in my professional role, I think I display a very high level of resilience, and I'm able to express myself and in a calm and validating way and manage stressful situations effectively. But do I have this level of patience and tolerance and calm communication in my home? Not as much.
And that's probably heightened too over the last 18 months as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you're stuck together for 24/7. Yeah.
Yes.
I went to a fundraiser a few years ago. It was for mental health, and Grant Hackett, the Olympic swimmer, spoke about resilience there. And you know that we would all, generally think of Olympic level or elite athletes as extremely resilient, right? Because they're constantly put in challenging situations and they regularly face failure and disappointment, being in a competitive environment. And he was very resilient within his role as a competitive swimmer. He was very successful. But he talked about how when his relationship broke down, that he fell apart and he didn't have the skills he needed to respond in a resilient way. And that led to some problematic behaviors, and he just wasn't able to cope very well during that period of time. So it is possible to display a great deal of resilience in one area of our lives, but not necessarily in another. So I'm interested to hear if you think that you have more resilience at home or at work. So put in the chat box home or work, and we'll get kind of a sense of that. Work. Yeah, I can relate to that. I think I'm far more resilient at work. Any other responses? Yep. Work, work, work. Oh, goodness. Our home lives, we need some work on, don't we? Yeah, both. Yeah, that's a good, both at different times. That makes sense. hmm And it depends on the situation. Yeah. So our level of resilience actually depends on a number of factors. And one of them is our familiarity with certain situations. And so, like with what's going on now, we could have never predicted what's happened over the last year and a half, and because we've had no experience dealing or living through a pandemic. So it makes sense that our levels of resilience in dealing with this particular circumstance in our lives may not be as high as usual, but everyone's different, and you might have had the opposite experience of finding out that you were more resilient than you thought, or you may have found that you started out okay, but your resilience has diminished over time because of the impact of the pandemic lasting for so long. Or you may be someone who had lower levels of resilience to begin with, so that this situation may have been even more challenging for you. So we're all different, and our levels of resilience will be different in response to this and in response to any challenge. But the message that I want to convey is that everyone has the capacity to build their resilience, and it's not too late. I really like this quote, which conveys that, when we think it's too late to change, that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. All right, so we're going to talk about how we do this. So building resilience isn't as complicated as you think. According to research, there are three main factors that are involved in the development of resilience: social connection in the form of supportive and caring relationships, self-belief, meaning a mindset that includes positive self-concept and backing yourself and an optimistic outlook, and also skills. So having access to, and also the willingness to learn and practice skills to help you deal with the ups and downs of life. So far, the research has shown that having close, supportive relationships is the primary factor in building resilience. So its importance cannot be underestimated. And why is social connection the most important factor? It's because our early significant relationships help us develop our identity, and they serve as models for our behavior. So if you have close, loving, supportive relationships growing up, you're more likely to develop a positive self-concept, and you're more likely to have models for the skills you need to navigate your life. And as an adult, close relationships are still important in maintaining your sense of self and boosting your confidence and sense of belonging, and helping you to develop communication and social skills, and helping you feel supported and cared for. And research shows that having these supportive relationships actually protects us from physical and cognitive decline. So there are some barriers to social connection at the moment, as we all know, especially now. And they include lockdown and social anxiety and depression. So lockdown presents us with a physical barrier. We can't socialize in person. We can't touch or hug or shake hands as freely as we were before. And many of us can't go to work. And anxiety is a barrier, especially social anxiety, which is when you feel worried about whether others like you or approve of you, or you fear being judged. And this can lead to a whole range of avoidance behaviors. In fact, I'm finding with my own clients that a lot of people with social anxiety feel a little bit more relaxed in lockdown because there's no expectation for them to socialize, but they also continue to feel lonely and worried about what other people think, which makes it hard to reach out when we're in isolation like this. And another barrier is depression. Depression is associated with withdrawing from others and isolating ourselves. And when we feel low, we tend to feel less motivation, and we don't have the drive to do the things that we normally like to do. So it's really important to try to address these barriers. And I'm suggesting that we want to overcome these barriers by being creative and being courageous and being vulnerable. So I'm going to start with how to connect creatively. And I think this is something that many of us are already really good at because we're very well practiced at it. But here are some ideas for planning fun group gatherings online or ways to relax together. I was trying to find some pictures actually to represent this, but it's actually really hard to find pictures of having fun online. So I'm giving you some insight into my life here. So up at the top is a wedding I attended in Spain, and then I had footy time, like watching the footy with my friends over dinner. And the last one was just recently. I don't know if there's any Survivor fans out there, but our family, there's probably about 8 of us, are obsessed. So we were all on text back and forth about the finale of Survivor. But there's lots of different creative ways that you can connect online. If you've had any interesting things that aren't listed there, please put them in the chat box. Hi, Lloyd, not George. That's so funny. I didn't say George. That was my niece. And I think my husband was going for George. It might be because his name is George. But I really liked Haley. I was very happy that she won. Brendan, do you have any things that you did that were creative and trying to connect with people?
Yes. So you can probably hear my daughter in the background. I apologize. So basically, it's funny. We did this with our team actually at the cafe. So we ordered a couple of dinner boxes through the whole team, and we're able to. Sorry, my daughter's decided to join in.
Oh, no worries.
Ordered to. Excuse me.
So while he's busy working that out, one of the really creative ways that I thought
Ryan
was
the door, Ryan. Resilience. There you go. Firsthand.
Oh, that's all.
No, she's very good. She's so we did a dinner box with our team. Did a Zoom call. All cooked the dinner box, and it was just great for especially our younger staff to really have something to do. And we've got a lot of young staff that have no family over here, have no real support system. So it was great just to order some dinner boxes and be able to cook together on a Zoom.
That's great. I really love that. I did these walks. I don't know if you guys know who Corey McKernan is. He's an ex-football player, I think North Melbourne. And he organized this thing called Walk With Me. And it was like 3 days a week he was doing it during lockdown. And now it's about 1 day a week. But 7 a.m, you go on a walk and he'd organize a guest and you just walk and listen. And it was a great way of connecting with other people all over the state, all over the country now. So I thought that was really creative. But yeah, it's really important to find different ways to connect. Another great and creative way to boost your connection with others is to connect with kindness. Kindness, you might have heard this before, but it not only helps you feel more connected to others, but research actually shows that being kind to others is as good for you as it is for the person on the receiving end. So contributing to others' happiness actually leads to a boost in your own sense of well-being, physically, emotionally, and it increases your sense of connection to others. And this is because when you're kind to another person, the pleasure and reward centers of your brain are activated and your body reacts by producing the feel-good hormones and neurotransmitters like oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine, which aid in lowering blood pressure, which is good for your heart, and increasing self-esteem and optimism and calming you down and increasing your sense of connection to others. And also engaging in acts of kindness produces endorphins. And endorphins are hormone-like substances produced in the brain that have pain-relieving properties. So being kind can actually lead to pain relief, which of course is going to make you more resilient as well. And also, kind people have been shown to produce less cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and they age more slowly than the average population. And everyone who witnesses a kindness towards others benefits from that act. So these benefits can actually lead to further kindnesses. So essentially, kindness is contagious. And the most pleasure-boosting way to actually be kind is to do it in an unpredictable way. So a random act of kindness, because the pleasure centers of our brain respond much more strongly to kindness when you get something unexpected. So if you just think about like when you receive gifts on your birthday, that feels really good. But if you receive a gift randomly, how much better that feels because it was unexpected. So small, unexpected acts of kindness is all that's really needed to make someone's day. And at the same time, give you the physical and emotional and relationship benefits. So does anyone have any ideas for random acts of kindness or have been the recipient or have given random or been kind randomly or given gifts randomly that has had this kind of impact on you in terms of creating that connection? If you have some ideas or some experiences, please share them in the chat box. And Brendan, I don't know if this is something that you've experienced or try to do. I guess sending dinner boxes to people is an act of kindness, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah, go ahead.
We did a initiative at the cafe, paying it forward, and we asked our regulars in the community to donate $5, in which we would then prepare meals and supply students or casual workers who had lost all their shifts and had no support system. And we were absolutely blown away by. We ended up doing around 250 to 300 meals over a week period, and just the acts of kindness from the community and people from outside our local shopping district who were, emailing us and purchasing online. So it's just amazing to see, and from a world operator, and just the joy it brought for the students and the casual workers who were just getting a nice, healthy, home cooked meal delivered to them because of the kindness of the local community. So that was fantastic. It made, especially for our industry, to be able to give back.
Yeah.
Even though, as operators, we're all, like I said, handcuffed before, but having that mentality to give back. I'm seeing some here on the chat.
Yeah.
Bags of chocolates with handwritten notes, or a bunch of flowers and donuts from Jane. Going to time. It's so good to be able just to take a step back and think of those around you and be able to do something.
Yeah. And you know what? I remember you doing that. I remember I wanted to donate and you're like, we're not taking any more donations. We've gotten too many. It doesn't always have to be a tangible thing either. Like it can just be things like a compliment or, just a nice comment or an offer to help. Or, it can be something like sometimes people will like buy a coffee for the person behind them or something like that. Or even like letting people in front of you when you're driving. Right? That doesn't happen very often. So even like little things like that can make people's day. Now, if your main barrier is social anxiety, then it really is about connecting courageously. And this is easier said than done. But if you're someone who avoids social contact, I want you to notice your urge to avoid making contact with others and then choose to do the opposite. So make the call, send the text, set up a Zoom session, go for a walk or a picnic. If you're in Victoria, we can do that now. I know this sounds really simple, but it can be really challenging if in your mind, trying to make a connection presents a risk of being rejected or judged. But you only learn how to deal with these fears by facing them. So it can really help to write down like one person or a buddy in each sphere of your life that you can chat to and check in with, like who are your people, and then set a daily goal. Like if you're living on your own, try to contact at least one person per day, like via video or phone call would be best, really, so you can actually speak to somebody. Or spend quality time if you're living with people, with someone in your household every day. And if you're having some hard times with this, I really encourage you to connect vulnerably. So if you're feeling low or anxious or depressed or unwell or hopeless, ask for help and be clear about the help that you want and need and be willing to receive help. But social anxiety is the most common anxiety disorder and it's very treatable. And if depression is holding you back from connecting because of feeling low or having low energy or low motivation or not wanting to, or really just wanting to withdraw, and not, or even not enjoying interaction as much as you used to. And that can all happen with depression. There are excellent treatments for depression. So seek help as early as possible so that you can feel better and cope better as early as possible as well. And you don't only need to connect with people, you can connect with pets as well. Pets can be a really wonderful source of comfort and unconditional love. And I think that we all saw the proliferation of people with new dogs. And this is my dog, Bowie, who's very connected to me in this picture. Well, we bought him before the pandemic, but he was a really good source of comfort and continues to be. So we've talked about improving social connection. And the next factor in building resilience is self-belief. Self-belief is about mindset. It's about how you think of yourself and what you're capable of. It's about maintaining an optimistic and hopeful stance. It's about knowing that change is possible. So how do you cultivate this in your life? You develop an optimistic outlook by focusing on what's important to you, so your values, acknowledging your strengths, and allowing your values and strengths to guide you through difficult times in a way that makes you feel good about yourself. It also helps you remember that who you are is not the same as what you do. And also back yourself. Sometimes using affirmations and coping statements can really help with this. Saying them to yourself when you need a boost. I don't know if people do this already, but some examples are this, some quotes that people find helpful are, "This too shall pass," for instance, or "This is difficult, but I'll get through it." I really like this one. "If you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain." Does anyone else have a quote or a lyric or a phrase that they say to themselves to get through a difficult time? Brendan, do you have something that helps with your mindset?
Yeah, it's funny. At a young age, I was instilled to say this quote: "I'm alive and well, and nothing in the world will beat me." And I learned this at like
Hmm.
16. I used to kind of have a giggle about it, but I've noticed that I started saying it to myself over the pandemic. And yeah, just waking up and yelling, "It's going to be a great day," has really those positive affirmations really changed. So yeah, but I'm alive and well, and nothing in the world will beat me. It's been a very good one
That's
for me.
awesome. I love that. And some of these other ones, "I can do hard things." I love that. "Build a bridge." Fantastic. Yeah, Louise, that's true that anxiety and depression can actually co-occur. Um, and having anxiety for a long time can result in depression too. So, and knowing what it is can be really helpful. Like you said, it can be really relieving to know what it is and that you can do something about it. So great. Another way to develop self-belief and optimism and a positive mindset is through gratitude. And I know that you guys have probably heard about this before. I just want to a little bit about the research. The research has shown that a grateful mindset in both adults and children increase happiness and life satisfaction and resilience. And it has other benefits. It can improve your sleep and overall health and reduce anxiety and depression as well. And our brains actually perform better when we're grateful. So it's important to make it part of your daily life to acknowledge the people and the places and the things and the circumstances and the organizations and the events that you're grateful for, and not to forget the little things. And the best way to do this, according to the research, is to write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day. And it can be simple as a great sandwich, sunshine, a song, an interaction you had, your dog, your coffee machine. It can be whatever you like. Just make them specific and different every day. And why does this work? It works because doing this regularly actually helps your brain focus its attention on the positive experiences and circumstances in your life. And over time, it actually trains your brain to be more optimistic. And research actually suggests that these attentional and brain changes can occur in as little as 21 days. So why don't you start by writing one thing down that you're grateful for in the chat box. I'm grateful for being here with you guys today. I know that sounds corny, but I am. Thanks for inviting me to do this with you guys, and thank you all for coming. Any other beautiful kids, my family? Yeah, beautiful.
My number one value is my family, so I'm always grateful for my family.
Yeah.
As you saw before. My little girl.
What are you doing? Yeah.
I
Good
like that.
food. Yes, good food. And health.
That's it.
Yes.
Being busy at work during lockdown, yeah.
Mm, great.
Coffee.
Yes, I am grateful for coffee as well.
Good coffee though, yeah?
Yeah, look, I didn't start drinking coffee until I moved to Australia, actually. And then you guys talk about your coffee so much. I'm like, well, I better try it. And now I have it every day. All right, so the third factor is skills. So learning skills, practicing skills, and applying them effectively. We've already talked about skills like gratitude and kindness, and there's going to be other skills that are important for you to develop based on your personal needs, like stress management, problem solving, or communication skills. But there are some skills that all resilient people do. And the first is acceptance. We talked about the importance of acceptance last week in coping with anxiety, and it's also key to being resilient. It's about accepting reality, like your inner reality, your feelings and thoughts, and your external reality, your situations and circumstances, and accepting it as it is, not how you want it to be or how you think it should be. And I don't mean acceptance as giving up or not trying to make things better. I actually mean acceptance as not fighting reality, because when you stop struggling against it, you can see it clearly, and then you're in the best position to do something about it. And being resilient is also about adapting and coping as best you can, using skills and applying them effectively. And also knowing that taking care of yourself is vital to being resilient and maintaining a high level of resilience. And finally, it's about approaching the ups and downs of life as opportunities to learn, change, and grow. So sometimes we try to or are told to do this right away, and that's not always helpful, but it's about doing it when you're ready. And the best way to learn acceptance is through mindfulness. So mindfulness is considered a core acceptance skills because it increases your awareness of what's going on within you and outside of you, and it helps you accept these internal and external experiences without judgment. And this clears the way for responding effectively. And a lot of people think mindfulness is like sitting in a dark room and undisturbed and breathing and chanting for 20 minutes in the lotus position. And it can be if that's what you want. But there are also really practical ways to do mindfulness. In fact, you can do it anytime, anywhere, for as long as you want, doing anything you want, and doing it alone or around countless others. So if you want to learn more about how to do it in this way, feel free to download a handbook that I've got on my website, and we'll give you the link after the session. And the next point that I want to make is that it's really important to maintain your resilience through self-care. If you want to build resilience and stay resilient, you have to do the things that resilient people do. And resilient people take care of themselves. They relax, they take time out for themselves, they don't feel guilty about doing nothing sometimes, and they believe that they deserve time to relax. And resilient people have fun and they laugh at themselves and they can find the humor in almost anything. And resilient people do new and challenging things regularly. So they look for ways to learn and grow outside of their comfort zone. They exercise their brain and they face their fears rather than avoid them. So they have a lot of opportunities to build confidence and gain a sense of mastery. So I've put some ideas here to get you started. There's some relaxing ideas and fun and challenging ideas. And they don't have to be time consuming to be restoring and uplifting. And there are lots of activities on these lists that you can do in less than 5 minutes. And I'm interested to hear which area you think you need to focus on the most in terms of self-care. Brendan, do you want to send out the next poll? Which area would you like? Find the lids. I know. Find the lids to containers impossible. That is so true. You There's always something missing. It's like socks. You can't find all your socks either. All right, question 2. I think all right. What do people need to do the most of? Relax and have fun are very popular. Nobody wants to challenge themselves. We're already challenging ourselves enough, right? So for those of you, whatever category you picked, I just want you to pick one thing from the list under the category that you chose to do today. And if you want to share that in the chat box, feel free to do that. Yeah, this is personal. Yes, it could be work related if you want it to be, but we're talking about just building resilience in yourself at the moment. Okay. Take a bath. Yeah, that's a great one. I love that one. I discovered baths during lockdown for sure. Cooking, trivia nights, mindfulness, fantastic. There's some really good mindfulness apps like Insight Timer and Calm and Breathe, Smiling Mind. Most of them are free. Headspace is another one. Great. All right. So we'll move on to the next skill, which is self-reflection. Resilient people approach challenges, positive or negative, as an opportunity to learn and change and grow from their experiences. So any upheaval or crisis will come with anxiety and discomfort and pain, but it also has the potential to lead to clarity regarding your values, to spark innovation and progress, to promote greater compassion and kindness in our communities, to build resilience, and to give us a greater appreciation of what we have. And this doesn't mean that this happens right away. And sometimes we try to skip to this part, or we're told to reflect on this before we're ready. And, we might still be focused on keeping ourselves safe and well rather than on the opportunities we have to grow and change. And that's fine. But when you're ready, you can take some time to reflect on how your challenging times have the potential to positively affect you and your life moving forward. Brendan, you still there? Can't see you anymore.
Yes, I'm still here.
How you doing? So
Good.
we're just
Sorry.
coming. No, that's okay. We're coming to this little summary section. So we've talked about the 3 ways to build resilience: social connection, self-belief, and skills. So I'd like to know, what area do you think is the most important for you to focus on to build your resilience? So thank you for putting that poll up already. Brendan?
Well, for me, I think for myself personally, I would do the skill sets now. Like I think for having focus on that mindset, that self-belief is really important. But right now it's the skills. But for in my workplace, in my team, that the social connection, I think, has been the hardest, especially with each other, if you're not at the shop together or within your company. But instilling some of those foundations within the team is really important, I find, right now.
Well, that's a really good segue, because I'm going to be talking about your team in a minute. So in terms of you guys personally, it looks like it's pretty evenly split among the 3 different areas. So, that just shows that we're all different and we all kind of need different things to build our resilience. But they're all important areas to kind of keep, to be mindful of and to continue to try to build on and improve. So now that you have some more clarity about how to build resilience in yourselves, let's talk about how to build resilience in your business. So let's start with, why is building resilience important for your business? The hospitality industry is about people. It's about business owners and managers and your team and customers and suppliers. And hospitality is an industry that contributes to society's sense of enjoyment and connection. And building resilience in your business is about doing this for yourselves. Building resilience in your people is building resilience in your business. And the way that you build resilience in your business is essentially the same way that you do it for yourself. You can see this looks very familiar. So connection, hope, and skills. If you're a leader in your business, connection is about fostering a strong rapport with your team. And I've replaced the word self-belief with hope because it's not just about you now. It's about an expression of backing your team and your business now and into the future. And it's also important to provide opportunities to build skills that will promote the health and well-being of your workforce. So the first and most important step, of course, is connection. And we've talked a little bit about this already. Remembering that your business is about people. It always comes back to social connection and to the relationships. It's really important that you have a strong rapport with your team. And I really like this quote from Jane Goodall about every individual matters. Every individual has a role to play, and every individual makes a difference. So we want to cultivate a warm and positive alliance by being genuine and engaged and empathic and balanced in the way that we communicate. So being genuine, in your positive regard for your team members and expressing that their well-being is important to you by being honest and collaborative and respectful and encouraging and compassionate. And being engaged and empathic. So being present and listening and understanding that there are many factors that account for individual differences in resilience. We've talked about that before. Remembering that just because something doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that you don't understand it. So being curious and not judgmental. And also being balanced. Because as a manager or a leader in a business, you're always balancing being supportive and challenging, or the need for oversight and the need for trust and independence, or listening and coaching, or structure and flexibility. So it's really important that you check in regularly with your team that you're getting this balance right. And the next area is to instill hope in your business. You instill hope in your business through having a shared purpose. Now, I recently attended a talk with Mark Burris, the businessman, about how businesses need to navigate the next 6 months. And he really emphasized the importance of being a leader who instills hope and who's focused on what we can control to prepare for the future. And he said, you have to build up your business to be full of hope. And as a psychologist, I couldn't agree more. Like, hope is the cornerstone of resilience and positive change at every level, individual and business and societal. So how do you do this? You do this through a shared purpose, which is made up of a shared vision, shared goals, shared objectives, and shared values and culture. A team is a group of people with different abilities and talents and experiences and backgrounds and different levels of resilience in relation to various situations and circumstances. But teams come together for a shared purpose. And a shared purpose is also important because it's what you can all have in common, and it brings people together, and it's something you can work toward together. And I really like this picture I found, which is write your purpose in pen, but your path in pencil. It's just a little something to keep in mind and communicate to your team so that they understand the path can change according to the circumstances, but the purpose stays the same. And the last but not least important factor in building resilience in your business is to build skills with a focus on mental health and well-being. And why invest in mental health and well-being? Well, hospitality is a service industry, and you're constantly giving and pleasing and providing nourishment to the mind and body of others. But often this is at the expense of yourselves. So it's time to place your attention on your well-being and the well-being of your workforce. And it's important to note that mental health programs don't work if people don't believe that their leaders genuinely care about their well-being. So even though there is ample research that shows how mental health and well-being initiatives improve not only the well-being, but the bottom line of your business, do it because you genuinely care about people. Because what happens when you focus and genuinely care about the mental health and well-being of yourself and your workforce is that you're happier, you're healthier, you're more productive, you're more motivated, you perform better, and so does your workforce, and so does your business. So do it for you, and do it for your team, and do it for your business. And this brings us to the final question of the day, which is, which component do you think is the most important in building the resilience of your business?
I really like the shared vision. I think that's so important
Mm-hmm.
for a leader to have a shared vision through accountability with their team. You know, showing an interest in their opinions, in their feedback, in the direction sometimes, involving your team around you, who will have great ideas, will
Yeah.
have great initiatives, and just, and giving them a chance to have a voice,
Mm-hmm.
will help, within that culture building. We've always found that an alignment model, an accountability model with a shared vision, shared purpose that everyone buys into.
Yeah.
That's the key for me. You have to have, and whether it be for Clipboard or whether it be for, a small cafe, really defining on what that vision is and then creating values around it.
Mm-hmm. And having a
Professional
collaborative
service.
approach. Yeah.
My favorite one is exceptional choices at the moment. Every decision you make has to be exceptional, and and that could just mean, from our industry, from making sure you clean the steam wand every time you do your coffee. That's exceptional. When you don't do it, it's not exceptional. So just having that shared vision and getting that buy-in from the team, I've found has had a real impact on the culture, and it allows the team to be able to come to you and open up and have that shared experience and actually have the strength and the courage to talk to you when things aren't going so well. So I think that was really important for our side, and what you mentioned before.
Yeah, and I think that we can see from the poll that the majority or half the people think that that's the most important thing at the moment now too. And I think that, I think that we're in a time that we can be a little bit more hopeful, I think, and start making plans that potentially won't need to change as much as they have had to over the last year and a half. So before you go, I want you to know that you can access further resources on my website, and that Brendan and I will be sending you the specific links to the various resources available. And there's just some on this slide here without the links, but just an idea of the types of things that you will have access to. So that includes things like online courses. I've organized, for anyone who's interested in doing any of those, I've organized a 50% off coupon code for you, so that we'll be sending that out to you. There's also a lot of free mental health resources, some handbooks, and some relaxation and mindfulness exercises that you'll be able to download and listen to, a variety of mental health articles and blogs and podcasts. publications as well. And I'm sure Clipboard's got some resources for you as well. Brendan, do you want to talk about those?
So there'll be some on our platform as well, have links to different resources out there. Someone mentioned before the Are You OK Mateship Manual for Hospitality. So over the next coming days, we'll send out some more emails to those who attended and those who didn't. And then we've got something exciting happening in the pipeline over the next month that, now that you're registered, you'll get updates on that, which is going to be really practical for the hospitality industry and give you guys some great, resources, tangible resources, which is our goal. Our goal is to make a significant difference along with our partners, along with the people involved, to have an impact on our industry and provide you and the industry with some necessary tools. So stay tuned. Over the next coming weeks, we'll get that out and you'll be able to see some exciting stuff happening.
Yeah, we really look forward to doing this for you, and of course would welcome any feedback that you have on areas that you'd like us to focus on. So thank you guys for all coming today.
Thank you all for attending. We appreciate the support. And yes, like I said, provide us any feedback via email or through the channels, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for the feedback.
Glad you were able to come.
Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your afternoon. Spend it with loved ones. Do some quizzes. Maybe an online cheese course or something. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.